Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and I'm gonna start this video off with basically the worst advice that you will ever hear in your entire life. But it's something I learned when I was actually 5 years old in order to actually survive. So you might know this or might notice this, but English is not my first language, okay? It's actually Spanish. And when I was actually 5 years old back in 2002, we moved to an English-speaking country. Like, that's all they spoke there. And in my school, guess what? They love doing spelling bees. Now, you tell me, if I can't speak the language, if I don't understand the language, how am I supposed to spell anything? So I got very good very quickly at cheating. And I cheated very well. Well, aside from the one time where I basically cheated so bad that I basically copied my friend's name onto my test and I got caught, okay? But I cheated and cheated and cheated, and I was like, wow, I'm passing, everything's fine. But eventually, I started feeling like, hey, cheating is cheap. I feel stupid and I don't really know anything whatsoever. So it wasn't working. So I changed my strategy after like a year or 2 years or so. And I went from cheating to copying. And copying, before you laugh and say, Tommy, cheating and copying is the same thing, the answer is no. Teachers say that, but the answer is no. Copying is a lot more sophisticated than cheating. Let me tell you why. Because the same people I cheated from, I started copying not just their answers, but their habits. The things they actually did to get those results and everything about them. So I noticed that, hey, the kids that get the best grade, I asked them these questions, by the way, they sit in the front, they pay attention, they ask questions, participation, obviously, and they also study. And all of a sudden, I thought I was super stupid, but then I'm getting good grades. And then that changed my life forever. So then I took this concept of copying and I took it all the way into finance and money. So when I wanted to learn about money and finance, I started copying millionaires and rich people and their habits and everything they do. And before you know it, today, I'm financially free. Well, sorta. Because in reality, I'm only financially free by an extra $38, and I don't feel safe with that, meaning I have enough money to cover all of my expenses, plus a leftover $38, but I just don't feel comfortable. I want it to be a lot more, like at least 20% over, not just $38 over. I have no debt. I have a paid off home, and that's how I basically got there a lot faster. Now, I did this at age 19, and today, 6 years later, I'm financially free. And in this video, the goal is to give you 7 habits that I learned from millionaires in order to get the results that I actually got. Now, again, cheating is cheap. I don't want you to copy what I do because it's cheap. But copying habits and all that stuff, that is sophisticated. Now, the next level is Picasso level, which means you steal. So all these habits I'm going to give you here, steal them, okay? Try them, experiment, do everything with them, and you'll see the results as you go along. But again, it won't be overnight. I don't promise those things, so just know things take time to actually develop. And as always, smash the like button on top of that. Also, if you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. So the first habit, guys, is going to be do everything that you do as if the boss was actually watching you, like over your head and telling you, hey, you did that wrong, do it the right way. And you probably heard this before in a different way, like Joe Rogan when he says, hey, just act as if you have a documentary team following you around to film your life movie. But the best example that I've ever heard about this is basically just treat everything like your first day at the job. You know, when you were very excited about getting a job, you put on your best shirts, your best pants, your best shoes, and you went over there, you did the interview, you said everything perfectly, you were very professional. When you got the job, you went the first day, the second day, the third day, you had everything about you perfectly, you looked nice, you smelled good. But then a year later, you get very lazy and accustomed to it. Well, just act like that first time, always. Because that's when you're really trying. But take that and do it with everything you do. So for me, I wake up at the same exact time every morning. That's 4:20 a.m. by the way. I make my bed as if I was in the military. I work out and I don't skip reps. I don't skip workouts because I want to do that type of stuff. And then lastly, when I'm doing my job, I do it to the best of my abilities. I don't try to skim around or take shortcuts. No. The way you do one thing is the way you're going to do everything. It's a very cliche quote, but it is true. Now, the second habit is never take rejection personally and never carry on that feeling of rejection over to a person or a thing or a career. Let me explain, guys, okay? I wanted a lot of things. For example, my dream was to go to Baruch when I was in high school. That's a college in New York, by the way. I got rejected, not once, but twice. Now, that was my dream. On top of that, my dream was to work at the Apple Store. I love technology and I wanted to have like a job I actually enjoyed while I was going to college. And I applied once, no response. And then I finally got to go to the interviews. And after I went to the last interviewer, he looked in my face and never called me back. Rejected. And then lastly, YouTube. YouTube was always my dream. And for the first 11 years, I also got rejected. I made no progress whatsoever and nothing was actually happening. But in reality, for the person that is searching, when one door closes, another one is open. You just got to go out there and find it. That's the idea. Now, if I took those feelings of rejection and said, well, I got rejected, I'm not even going to go to college anymore. I got rejected, I'm not even going to get a job anymore. I got rejected, I'm not even going to try anymore. The answer is I would not be where I am today. A few years later, when I look back, I say, well, I got rejected by Baruch, although eventually they did accept me. But by that point, I got $30K in scholarship to one college, and I was like, hey, it makes a lot more sense to stay here. So that was great. I also finished a year earlier. That was great. And then when it came to the Apple Store, yeah, that's fine, I got rejected there. But that forced me into starting my very own business, which basically freed up my time and made me a very good income so I don't have to depend on a job. And then lastly with YouTube, I kept trying, picking up my bag, trying again, not taking it personally. And today, here you are, right? I'm a YouTuber. Now, to me, that's awesome. So never take rejection personally and always attempt the next task with the same enthusiasm before you got rejected. That's the idea. And that takes a reset mindset. So practice it and get very good at it. Now, for the third habit, it sounds cliche and corny, I know, but it's believing in yourself and ignoring the naysayers. When you're trying to do something that has not been done before, not like worldwide, but just for example by your family, no one went to college, no one was a millionaire, no one's trying to get financially free. That stuff is not normal in my family. When you're trying to do those things, and everyone is like, yeah, we support you. But they're like, is that really going to happen? Like, probably not, right? The idea is to ignore those people. It takes a lot of work, right? Resilience is the word. Now, I just learned this a few weeks ago. And it's that basically when you have a negative thought, like if I call you, you're ugly, right? You suck. You will not be anything. It takes around 17 positive words of affirmation to go ahead and ignore just that one negative thought I put into you. So it is a habit to go ahead and tell yourself these things to yourself and say, hey, I got this, I'm going to do well. And I find it very corny, but it does make sense and it does work. The way you talk to yourself is very important. When you tell yourself, oh, I'm stupid, oh, I'm this, oh, that's not a healthy way to speak to yourself. So kind of don't do it. Now, for me, what's helped me out the most as far as like how to implement this habit is journaling, praying, and basically taking account of my entire day and say, hey, what could I have done better here? How can I improve here? And always keeping an eye on the goal and on the future. Now, I don't spend hours on this. I spend 15 to 30 minutes journaling and praying and basically taking accountability. That's it. I'm not here for hours because we don't all have hours to do this type of stuff, okay? Now, the fourth habit is actually a very difficult one, but people think they're very good at it. And it's basically, when you're listening, listen to understand and don't listen to just respond. Now, if you ever had, for example, a conversation with someone and they're talking to you and all you're thinking about is, hey, here is what I'm going to say next, and you're trying to make sure you don't forget it, that's the bad way to go about it, okay? The whole idea is, as I'm listening to you, I want to listen to understand your point. You know, I've had situations where basically I know people that get very angry at customer service, right? And when they call in and they speak to them, all of a sudden they're fine, right? Because customer service agents are very good at listening to understand and not listening to reply. And I learned this from a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which I stole the idea because, stealing is a good thing to do also. But the idea is you have to show, first of all, you are genuinely interested in what this person is telling you. Second, you have to comprehend and understand and show you understand to that person. And then thirdly, that's when you're actually able to reply. So how does this look in a conversation? It means as you're speaking, I'm thinking about what you're saying in order to understand you. Once you're done talking, I say everything back to you to make sure you know that I fully understand you. And once you know I understand you, I suggest something or ask you, hey, would you want a suggestion on this? Or here's what I can do about this. That way, this person fully understands you, they're interested, and that's how you get what you want. It's not manipulation. It's just you having a conversation like a normal human being, okay? A lot of us just, hey, what you said? But I want to say this, you want to say that? And it's like an argument, and it doesn't really head anywhere. I hate conversations at the end of it. You're left in the same exact spot. Makes absolutely no sense. Listen to understand, not to respond. 5, you want to solve ladder problems, not treadmill problems. Now, a treadmill obviously is when you go to the gym and you're on this treadmill thing, you're running, but in reality, you're staying in the same spot, okay? A ladder is you're climbing up and you're going up, okay? Just in case you guys don't know what this stuff is, okay? But the idea is problems that you solve in a ladder mindset, they're getting you somewhere. You are making progress, you are moving forward. Problems you solve in a treadmill, in reality, they keep you in the same place. It's like, hey, I answered 1,000 emails today. Okay, so what happens with that? I just answered emails. That's awesome, right? No, you're not really going anywhere, okay? It's called busy work. And what helps me the most when implementing this is, for example, the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and also the 80-20 rule. That's also a book. And when I'm writing down my task for the day, I write it down in order of priority to what's going to get me the biggest results. So right here is my whole thing for the day. You see, the first part here is just, hey, what do I have to do that's going to give me the results? Like film this video, make a reaction video, do the TommyBryson calls, right? And then contact the editor. Those things really matter. And then down here, you have everything else. Like, hey, call the cable company, call the AC guy, do this and do that, call my accountant. Like all those things, although they are important, they're not as important as everything else. So you put those as last and you do your priorities first. Because remember, we have willpower and we are not robots. So you do get exhausted. So you do the first things first. So that way you have the energy going into the things that actually matter. And that is one of the biggest things. So number 5 right here is the most biggest things. Solve the things that are going to get you results and learn about the 80-20 rule. It's like homework, but a video with habits, because you can't copy everything. You also got to learn it too, okay? Now, number 6 is you want to learn that whatever you do, you want to start with why. Now, I won't go into detail here because it makes no sense, but I will give you guys an exercise to actually do with a friend, a family member, or anyone, okay? What you want to do is you want to ask yourself why you're doing what you want to do 7 times. And when you reach the 7th time, you're going to move around from a generic answer to the real soul-seeking answer to why you actually want what you want. For me, it went from, hey, I just want to do YouTube videos to help people. I just want to be a lot stable and all this stuff, to, hey, my dad passed away. People around me passed away also. I've been through a lot of things in life. And what I really want is to have control over my finances and my life and where I'm heading. Like, that's my why. So whenever I feel like I don't want to do something, I think back to that. You can't have a generic thing where you say, I want to do this because I want to motivate people, right? I want to just be motivative. Like, it kind of makes sense. But when things get hard, you're not really going to think about that. You're probably going to quit. So when you go down to the deepest level of why, 7 times, basically, just 7 times, not 8, not 9, not 12, not 15, 7 times, you'll find out exactly what your why actually is. And again, it's just saying, hey, what do you want, right? So I want to be financially free, or I want to be a millionaire, I want to be rich, whatever it is, I want to be a better husband. And then you ask yourself, why do you want to be a better husband? And then when you answer that, why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? Why do you want to do that? Until you get to the 7th level, and that's going to be the true reason. You don't have to share it, but it will be interesting to see what your real why actually is. If you're down for that, comment down below. Now, habit number 7, guys, is really like the only habit I didn't steal from the book I'm reading right now, which is called Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi, okay, or Graziosi. And here's the book right here if you want to read it, where these habits actually are. But overall, this one is mine, and it's all mine. I think so. And it's basically, when it comes to anything you want to do, learn something, do something, be something, the first step is research. Second step is experiment with at a low cost, obviously. And the third step is apply. I know so many people that just want to invest or just apply everything, but they don't know the research yet. They don't know how things actually work. So when you learn the research from other people that failed, made it, all that stuff, you learn mistakes to avoid and things to actually do to get you there a lot faster. When you basically experiment, you can basically say, hey, I'm gonna try this out, but not with like $10,000, but instead with just $5 or for free, and see where it goes. And then when you start applying this into your life, this is when things actually make a change, okay, guys? But overall, that's all I have for you guys, okay? Hopefully, this video helps you. I know it will. On top of that, as always, guys, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified. Comment down below any questions. I will be in the comments down below. If you want to contact me directly and call me, I have a link down below for free. You can call me. Or if you want to DM me on Instagram, DM me at TommyBryson. It's my only Instagram. Up here, another video. And here's my face. Click subscribe. And on top of that, as always, long-term team out.